Something even bigger is looming after this weekend storm, but first I gotta cover that weekend storm with very heavy rainfall totals coming to portions of the Northeast, but then after that, of course, I'll cover what's looming next, and it's this huge fall cold front that's gonna bring the chance for severe weather, and we've got Tropical Storm Tammy in the Atlantic.
One Nation weather.
Well, looking at satellite imagery, we've got a few things to look at. One of them is this storm system pushing across the upper Midwest, set to move into the Northeast as we head towards Friday and the weekend. We've got a system here, which is Tropical Storm Tammy over portions of the Atlantic, and then we've got Hurricane Norma over the Eastern Pacific. All of these are going to be worth talking about in this video, but first of all, let's talk about that storm system over the U.S. right now and the setup as we head towards October 23rd with the cold front developing on that system, a coastal low developing. They'll combine in the Northeast, and that's where the heaviest rainfall will get going. So let's time out that near-term storm. Again, the fact that the colors on this map are gray is really showing you not snow. What this actually is just the very lightest possible shade that you can have for rain on this particular model. So in other words, what you're looking at here is very light rain pushing eastward. We start to see a little bit of thunderstorm coverage with this as we go towards our October 20th, which is our Friday. Notice some of the rainfall just off the mid-Atlantic coastline, and if some of that does graze portions of North Carolina and Virginia, slightly bigger rainfall totals for you there. As we go towards our Friday night into our Saturday, this develops into a nor'easter-like system. We could see a lot more of those this winter, by the way. A good bit of rainfall hitting portions of New England with this system especially, as that low continues to see moisture wrap back around even as we go in towards our Sunday, along with the breezy conditions. Meanwhile, high pressure continues to dominate over portions of the central and western part of the country as that system moves by. And then the next thing we'll also be looking at to impact our pattern is, believe it or not, Hurricane Norma, an indirect impact to portions of the south central United States as we head towards the end of the month. Now, in terms of your likelihood of at least an inch of rain as we go through our Monday, it's quite high there from portions of New York and portions of Connecticut, Rhode Island, as well as into portions of Massachusetts northward there. So we'll be watching that closely. Up to 3 inches of rainfall possible at the high end, but overall a good sum of 1 to 2 inches for most communities here. Some of the higher elevations are where we could see maybe 3 inches of rainfall. So again, it's kind of sneaking over the high pressure ridge, sinking on down into portions of the upper Midwest and the Midwest as we go into our Thursday. Notice the deeper red shades and how the expansiveness of that off towards the west as we go into our Thursday. That's really showing you that we're getting at least some pretty temporary and pretty significant high pressure to get temperatures warmer than average there and over portions of the plains. So we're seeing some unusual 80s in some of these zones. Cooler than average air with this system overall, but this graphic makes it look a little more potent than this system actually is. It is really just a strong trough, but we're not really seeing enough moisture applied to get this into the kind of system it could be. Nonetheless, of course, you can already see it beginning to curl northward as we go in towards our Friday night and into our Saturday morning, with the brunt of that already beginning to hit the Northeast, and it kind of combines with some energy riding the jet stream and turns into one system that's going to kind of meander around over the Northeast into the early part of next week. Meanwhile, we've got this high pressure ridge again starting to degrade already at this point, so only a few day event with that high pressure. We're seeing stuff encroach on it from the west as well there along the west coast, and eventually that's going to be what pushes the chance for some severe weather back into the plains, as well as a chance for some very heavy rainfall and flooding. Again, you can see that system finally departing from the Northeast as we go Monday night and into our Tuesday, with high pressure ridge moving over the east at that point, so bringing the chance for slightly above average temperatures there. And then look at the blues filling in the west. That means that we're going to have a little bit of a combat going on here, with several systems getting ready to move into the plains, some of them coming in from the northwest, some coming in from the southwest, one of those being what's left of Norma as it pushes over Mexico and sends that moisture with the southerly flow into Texas. Essentially what I'm trying to tell you is by the time we head towards the Tuesday, Wednesday time frame, so as we're heading towards October 23rd, 24th, and 24th into 25th, that's when we're really going to begin to see that rainfall push over the plains and the chance for some severe weather associated with it. You can see that for you here on your 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Much warmer than average here over portions of the eastern part of the country, cooler than average over portions of the northwest, with a good deal of precipitation going over the plains and most of the country, really above average in the precip department, especially right in that central quadrant. So in terms of your Euro models, as we go with these storms next week, because I'm going to show you both the Euro and the GFS to give you both solutions, because remember, we're still in the 7 to 14 day range with these systems. What I can tell you is that we're going to have a good deal of high pressure still in place in the weak fashion as we head towards our Sunday time frame. A little bit of stuff trying to encroach on it from the west coast at that point, but it's really once we get Monday night and into Tuesday when we're going to begin to see things get together. A little bit of light snowfall and rainfall trying to push out of the mountain west. Notice how that piece of energy forms a southerly flow that can drag the remnants of the eastern Pacific hurricane up into portions of New Mexico and Texas. This is going to open the door for a good bit of storms to ride on up that. And look at how this is really just going to take action here as we go Tuesday night and into our Wednesday when I play that out in a second. But also notice that we've got another system encroaching from the mountain west. So here we go. Now let's play that out. And then look at how that rainfall just moves northeastward. And it doesn't look like a lot. It's moving pretty quickly. But what I can tell you is the rainfall that is embedded here and some of the snowfall back into the mountain west as well. A good deal of the precipitation by the time we're heading to mid to late week next week with these systems looks to be on the heavier side. Notice the high pressure, what's left of it being forced eastward, as I was telling you about with those Climate Prediction Center and other graphics earlier. Here we go, the rainfall beginning to try and push eastward. Yes, maybe some embedded thunderstorms, maybe some embedded severe thunderstorms here over the Arklatex region by the time we go Wednesday night into Thursday with the solution. Some cooler air and some snow moving through portions of Montana. Some of that very heavy snow at times with this Euro solution. That moving up into Canada as these systems continue to work eastward. Now, in terms of your GFS model solution with the storms next week, similar scenario by the time we go into our Tuesday. That's when we get some of the shower coverage. Not as much activity quite yet back into portions of the Mountain West, but you can at least see it there. Overall, the similarities are starting to get here with these models. The GFS really showing that storm that's going to be working with what's left of Norma there in the eastern Pacific. Really showing that one becoming quite potent with a potential for a damaging line of thunderstorms there in that graphic from portions of eastern Kansas back to portions of the Dallas, San Antonio regions there in Texas. Notice how the GFS kind of sets these systems up in more of a chain of, a little bit longer of a system here with that low pressure kind of combining with the other one back in the Mountain West, and eventually here on the northern side with this Euro solution, this GFS solution, we could just be continuing to see that snowfall wrap back around along that northern fringe, and this would be the first real snowfall of the year for many portions of the north central part of the country. And then eventually the GFS has that system depart more back here into portions of the Mountain West, and then here we go late next week, another one trying to move into the plains, and look at how that could create some heavy snowfall there into portions of, say, the Dakotas, Nebraska, Iowa, into portions of, Minnesota and Wisconsin. This is why we need to watch this. This could turn into a mixed event. We could see some tornadoes, if we get enough shear with this. This is why we need to watch this closely. But one thing I can be certain with is that we're going to see a lot of rainfall next week. Totals of 2 to 4 inches wide spread over portions of the plains and Midwest with this, and the equivalent in rain and snow totals there in portions of the Northwest. The Weather Prediction Center picking up on this right now with your Tuesday setup. So this is your October 24th. Look at this. A good deal of fronts there over portions of the plains, and at least a chance for some scattered showers and storms to return by that point. And we could see a very big front form out of this with the anomaly difference looking quite likely here already with a huge contrast from the northwest to the southeastern part of the country. And this looks like something we would see with more of a La Nina setup, honestly. But, it's fall. This is a cool down that could push southeastward. Now, Tropical Storm Tammy has formed. We've got tropical storm watches up for portions of, say, like Barbados, as well as portions of the Windward Islands here. This is something that we're watching right now as it's going to curl northward right as it moves near the islands, but right now the cone of uncertainty goes over the northern Windward Islands with tropical storm force winds expected there, and even up towards Bermuda and on the eastern side of it as this curls away. The good news is we're not looking at the impacts to this to portions of the United States, but nonetheless coming very close to you here in portions of the northeastern Windward Islands. I'd be watching this very closely. Some of these locations, even Puerto Rico, could be grazed by this system. So the question marks are still there, though, as to how close the wind and the rain will be there, especially over portions of the southern Windward Islands there. And then, look at this. I want to go back just a little bit on the model run and kind of show you what the cone is looking like. Again, could go east of the islands, looking right now like it's going to curl north right over the islands, but that is the cone of uncertainty we're looking at. We need to monitor this closely with Tropical Storm Tammy. My next video should be out sometime as we go towards Friday, Saturday, so stay monitoring the forecast for that, and stay tuned to my community section to know exactly when it'll be posting that. Thank you so much for watching. Here are the credits, everyone.